Uh, Good afternoon. I'm Rick Oldenburg, Executive Director of South Sound Plan Giving Council. And because of its mission affinity, I'm also proud to serve as the volunteer co-chair of Leave 10 South Sound Initiative with my peer and good friend, Evelyn Ryberg. Evelyn, would you just give a quick wave there? Well, when you realize that both the council and Leave 10 have the same basic outcome in mind, which is, of course, to help give nonprofits and professional advisors more reasons and more knowledge to talk about planned giving, well, it's no mystery why this is an attractive pairing to me. So first, let me just say something about Leave 10 South Sound. There we go. It is, just a very simple idea. It's an initiative created by local nonprofits, professional advisors, and donors to educate, encourage, and inspire people to give back. It is simple. It's an easy to communicate idea, encouraging everyone to consider leaving 10% of their estate behind and invest it back into the communities that made us who we are. But before we go any further, I'd be remiss if we didn't recognize organizations that have helped us support financially. And so, first of all, I want to thank the Greater Tacoma Community Foundation, the Community Foundation of South Puget Sound down in Olympia, Ben B. Cheney Foundation here in Tacoma, and Multicare Foundation. So our sincere thanks for their belief in this initiative and in helping us go where we're going. And thank you today for joining us. We wholly believe that leveraging national initiatives that are getting promotional play in the media and through multiple educational organizations locally like ours is a way for you to be even more successful in promoting planned giving for your organization. This is the second time in 3 months that there's a national focus on estate planning. And the benefit to you increases with the number of organizations that promote it throughout the community. August was National Make a Will Month. And back in 2008, the U.S. Congress proclaimed the third week in October each year as National Estate Planning Awareness Week, or NEPA. This year, that's October 16th through the 22nd. Okay, we've got a lot of things going on. We're a very busy group, spreading word in all kinds of ways. And for the last 2.5 years, more than 30 nonprofits, professional advisors, and a few donors have given literally thousands of hours to help push this initiative forward on behalf of our communities and on behalf of you. Their efforts have resulted in 160 plus individuals, nonprofits, and professional advisors signing up as champions to show their support for what together we are accomplishing. In a few minutes, you'll see how 3 local organizations have made it pay for them. So our volunteers have also developed a NEPA page on the Leave 10 South Sound website. It's noted here on your screen. Just type in Leave 10 South Sound into your browser. It'll take you to the site. Then go for the Nonprofits tab, use the pull-down menu, and choose the second source underneath that, which includes Make a Will Month National Estate Planning Awareness Materials. So you'll receive a handout after the meeting to lead you to the most beneficial items on that page, but there's a lot more on the website page than is on our handout, so make sure that you nose around both. As you see, you can also get some help from the 4 organizations shown on this slide. We have a short list of volunteers available on a limited basis who can help you get started on the right foot. Plus, Leave 10 South Sound and South Sound Plan Giving Council team up several times a year with joint programming to help you get further into generating gifts of assets, as well as building a network of peers and professional advisors that will give you a better foundation for this kind of work. Well, Leave 10 South Sound is promoting National Estate Planning Awareness Week in lots of ways. One of those is, again, our free basic estate planning content. We are presenting another live feed on Thursday, October 19th from 11:30 to 1 p.m. called Securing Your Wishes, Where There's a Will, There's a Way. This presentation is easy to understand. It's full of current and updated information for gift planners, professional advisors, and donors. And let me stress, this is basic educational presentation, not a solicitation of any kind. And if your donors attend, rest assured we do not share our attendee list with anyone, and we don't solicit gifts, period. Okay, anyone who has ever been, sustained by the work of others, know that we just don't get to be competent human beings without a lot of different investments. And we want to thank our friend, Mr. Rogers, for that thought. And like Fred Rogers, we contend that it is now our turn to consider how we can leave the world a little better by believing in others and making investments in them and our community for the future. So here's the things you need to remember about the basic estate planning program. National Estate Planning Awareness Week, October 16th through 22nd. Securing Your Wishes, Where There's a Will, There's a Way. Planning Made Easy and Understandable. It is live 11:30 to 1 on Thursday, October 19th, and free on Zoom and streaming on YouTube. Program will be presented by a seasoned South Sound estate planning attorney. And we are looking, I'm just going to show you what we did last year. We had Brianne Campbell, Campbell Legal Planning here in Tacoma, do the presentation. This is kind of how we introduced her last year. As you can see, she graduated cum laude from Seattle University School of Law, has a BA in English Literature from the University of Portland, belongs to the Bar Association, both in the county and the state. And here are some other associations and things and accomplishments of hers. Our goal is higher caliber presentations that make basic estate planning understandable and usable by those who have not studied it. Brianne delivered all that for us last October. So what happens if you grab onto the National Estate Planning Week and run with it, even just a small part of it? Well, it just takes one or two ideas and some action. As you will now hear from our three organizational panel, there were other successes last year, but hey, these three have outstanding experiences to relate to you. So let's get right to it. Here to tell you their stories and a little about their thought and the efforts they put out, Dean Carrell. He's a charitable advisor in philanthropy. That's what the CAP stands for. Foundation Director, Pierce County Library System. Sherri Stanton, Director of Development at KBTC Television. And Beth Brooks, Manager, Donor Experience and Storytelling at Tacoma Pierce County Habitat for Humanity. We are anxious to hear your stories. Dean, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Sounds great, Rick. Thank you so much. And it's an honor to be on screen with all of you today. I've seen some of you recently, some I haven't seen in quite a while, but thanks for joining us today. I love the title that Beth Brooks has, the storytelling in that. I think we should all have that as part of our job titles. We really hope to share with you today some stories of success and how we helped leverage this national initiative called National Estate Planning Awareness Week. So we come from three different, very, very different organizations. As Rick said, I'm with the the Pierce County Library system and the foundation that goes along with it and supporting the work that they do. I've been here a little over 7 years, and I've been doing this thing known as professional fundraising close to 35 years. And it's just been a joy to be here. Before I hand it over to my next panelist as she introduces herself, I just want to let you know how our framework is going to work today. In terms of questions, if you have a specific question about one of our stories as we're presenting it, please put it into the chat and we can get that read to us by Melissa. Or if it's a more generic question, if you could save that to the end, then we'll come back to that. That would be helpful as well. So if it's, again, specific to our story, we'll go ahead and answer that during our segment. And then we'll go through each of us. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce both colleagues, Beth Brooks and Sherri Stanton. So Beth, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
You bet. Thanks, Dean. Hey, everyone. I'm happy to be here with you this lunch hour. As it's been said, I'm Beth Brooks. I use she, her pronouns, and I serve Tacoma Pierce County Habitat for Humanity as the Manager of Donor Experience and Storytelling. This is a fancy way of saying I'm responsible for annual giving and events, and I manage all communications for our organization. Additionally, I'm part of the team that handles and manages planned giving. It's not a defined standalone position for our organization, so it's a little bit of a team effort. I've been with Habitat for 7 years and landed my first philanthropy job about 19 years ago. So that's me. Passing the baton now to Sherri.
Hi, I'm Sherri Stanton with KBTC Public Television. And I've been doing fundraising, philanthropy, community engagement for almost 30 years. And I grew up on public television, so I feel so privileged to be able to work in public television. And I'm excited to see you all today and share what we're doing.
Great. Thank you, Sherri and Beth. So what I'd first like to do is provide a little history of what we've been doing with planned giving here at the Library Foundation, and then tell you a little bit more specifically how we've incorporated that work into National Estate Planning Awareness Week. I might refer to it as NEPA because that's going to be a lot easier to get out of my mouth than the long phrase. And then tell you a success story that is attached to those things. So over the past couple of years, specifically, the Library Foundation has taken more intentional steps to engage with potential plan giving prospects in our database and to build a more robust pipeline of those that intend to leave us bequests. This legacy group I'm referring to, we call it the Memoir Society, because as we're still living, maybe we get the opportunity to write our memoirs, and hopefully in doing so, that includes charitable giving. What we also did is that we established a board policy for unrestricted bequests to grow our unrestricted endowment that is managed by GTCF. And as I look on the screen here, I'm really glad to see Evelyn's face because we worked together to get that created. We've also contracted with Free Will to help us in our marketing and tracking efforts of these intended bequests. And as part of that, we've sent numerous emails out regarding gifts of smart assets, QCDs, DAFs, real estate, etc. But more intentionally, though, we're doing some very personal follow-up with those that we're communicating with. It's one thing to do a broad communication. It's another thing to really follow that up and get personal with folks. But I'm going to get to that in a second because that's part of the success story that I'm talking about. So let's talk about NEPA and specifically how does the Library Foundation and the library system here in Pierce County work with this national initiative. Last year, so 2022, was the first year that we engaged in participating in promoting NEPA. I was personally encouraged to move forward by several colleagues on this screen, specifically Leave 10 South Sound and South Sound Planned Giving Council. So thank you for the nudge. It was well worth our efforts, and I'll get to that. I came back from several conversations. I talked to my colleague, Christina Green, who's on the screen today, and we thought it'd be a really good idea to move forward with this effort in promoting NEPA. And so we kind of engaged in conversation with the library leadership and our communications department in order to, how can we co-brand and promote NEPA system-wide? So through several different conversations, it was really a no-brainer. I said, this really doesn't have to cost you anything except for a little time. And so what we were able to do is create posters that went in all 19 library locations across the county. So we're talking from Key Center to Eatonville, from Fife to DuPont. So a broad geographic range covering a broad demographic of potential donors. Because the library, if you don't know this, you will know it now. The library is all about equity and access. And shouldn't that be what NEPA is about anyways? So we had posters in every branch, and we have thousands of people go through each branch on a monthly basis. So we knew we were going to get some visual coverage that way. We also did social media posts that were pushed out from the library, the different platforms of Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And then we had email pushed out from our foundation to our database. So we have roughly, I think, 1,500 emails that we were able to push out. Again, all of this free except for a little bit of design and print time when it came to the posters. And we got great support, thank you, from Melissa McCarthy alongside Leave 10 South Sound to get this going. The graphics, the messaging, everything, and with the QR code that was referring specific to the event that Rick mentioned in the beginning of the program. Let's see, I'm looking at my notes here. We really wanted to make sure that we were going to promote that live streaming event, so we shared that information with our board of directors. We asked them to share that with their social network, and we also asked our donors to tune in. And we didn't have a tracking mechanism, and we still don't, but we do know that people took advantage of it, because we did hear word later that, hey, that was a great program, thank you. So I'm just really pleased that we're able to come alongside the foundation with the library to co-brand this great national initiative. Now, here's the little success story that goes along with that. As I mentioned, over the past couple of years, we've been trying to do some very intentional personal cultivation with our donors around plan giving. And because we're a shop that can't offer all the tools that Greater Tacoma Community Foundation might offer, or PLU, we can certainly promote the idea of these tools. One thing we can promote for sure, though, is how easy it is to leave a bequest in your estate plans. And my colleague, Christina Green, Christina, can you just wave your hand, please? Thank you. She does that cultivation work in just a great way and has done so with one particular donor. This donor was made aware of NEPA well in advance through all of the communications that we've provided and through Christina. And we invited this donor to meet with us. And in doing so, and through all the conversation, she agreed to sign an MOU for an unrestricted named endowment as part of their estate plan. And when that meeting was scheduled, it was scheduled during the week of NEPA. And we celebrated that moment, one, by calling it out. Hey, we're here doing this during National Estate Planning Awareness Week. And I think our donor was kind of amused by that, and said, well, I'm here to sign an MOU that will place $1 million bequest to fund an unrestricted named endowment. And also, I will be front loading that with a current gift of $100,000 today. And I tell you, our jaws hit the floor when that happened. And granted, does that regularly happen? No. Was it a unicorn? More than likely. But through, I believe, the great communications around this week, the way in which the foundation was able to partner and co-brand this event, and the great webinar that Brianne provided, all of this culminated for us, not just in that gift, but since then, we've secured a number of intended bequests through what we're doing. So, the age-old story, you can't keep the plan giving program on the back burner. You got to give it attention today. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. And I am going to introduce my co-panelist to share her story. Beth, how about you?
Great, thanks so much, Dean. So again, at Habitat, we haven't made an investment in a full-time plan giving officer, and historically have been pretty reactive in that space. That is until our Chief Philanthropy Officer, Sherri got it engaged with Leave 10. We launched a legacy society a few years back with a direct mail, and we've been sharing Leave 10 content in our e-news and social media ever since. But through Leave 10 this spring, we were introduced to Free Will, having participated in a Make a Will Month webinar with founder Patrick Smith. And from there, we decided to see what opportunity this could bring if we really went all in with planned giving in the way that we could manage. So while we promoted Nepal last year with e-news and social media, I think the most valuable thing I can share with you all today is our Make a Will Month strategy and those results, as it provided a roadmap for future national initiatives as well. So we contracted with Free Will in late June, just in time to get onboarded in the queue to get Make a Will Month content. I worked with our Free Will strategist to outline all of our August activities, which included emailing our entire list, not just donors, but also volunteers and homeowners and prospective home buyers. You know, in fundraising, people always say, don't discount anyone, don't presume to make judgment about someone's financial position, or, you know, where their head is at with philanthropy. So we took that into our planned giving outreach. So we did not segment our list by age or anything else, because everyone needs a will, and so everyone got an email. Actually two, because we sent a follow-up to non-openers 2 weeks after the initial Make a Will Month outreach. We also promoted Make a Will Month on social media, in our email signatures across our organization, and even in our on-hold messaging within our phone system. Next slide, if you could, Melissa. To say we were absolutely blown away by our Make a Will Month results is the understatement of the century. Our original email went to 15,196 people, and we had an incredible open rate of 41%. Our click-through rate was 2.65%. Our second email went to 14,857 people, only those who didn't click anything from our initial email. And again, that second email had an open rate of 40%. Across the whole month of August, we doubled the number of folks in our Legacy Society, receiving 24 new bequests with a total estimated value of 1.18 million. When we joined Free Will, by the way, our goal for the entire first year was 20 new bequests, and we got 24 in the first month. Interesting facts about these bequests are that it included 3 Habitat homeowners, 1 housing counseling client, and 3 staff members, and only 1 of which who had been a donor to us before this campaign. Moreover, I'd say at least half, probably a little bit more, of these new bequests were from people who weren't in our Razor's Edge database, right? These were names we didn't necessarily recognize, but somehow they had been connected to our organization either through volunteerism or just like opting in to receive our news. And because I'm a data junkie, I also find it super interesting that more than half the people who utilize the free will building tool that we offer on our website now made a designation in their plan for Habitat, which is a pretty incredible ROI and a lot higher than I had expected. Now, I have to be really honest here. None of this happened is because I'm particularly brilliant, nor am I experienced or educated in the realm of plan giving. With our Free Will partnership, all the copy we used across all of our Make a Will Month strategy was written by our assigned Free Will copywriter. From emails to social media posts and e-news blurbs and our email signature taglines, all of that was crafted by them. The strategy itself was also 100% crafted by our Free Will strategist. Its partnership with Free Will is about as close to plug and play as you can get. And I don't get commission. I don't intend to make a hard sale or be like the billboard for Free Will here. But truly, the smartest thing that Sherri and I did was invest our resources in Free Will and then follow their playbook inch by inch. It's also, I think, probably good to note that our budget didn't include resources to partner with Free Will, right? But all the things we did to make it work for us has been absolutely worth the investment. All in all, the partnership also costs less than a salary and benefits for a full-time gift officer. So we're still, I feel, working smarter, even with this additional investment. Let's look at our next slide. Melissa, please. Not surprisingly, as we look toward NEPA, our strategy is pretty much copy and paste from Make a Will Month. You know, if it works, it works. Let's keep going. We're going to email again the whole list, but this time we're going to segment any of those folks that have already left a bequest to us so they won't be bothered with the same news again. We'll also use social media, e-news, our website, and we'll certainly promote Leave 10s where there's a will event on our calendar and across all of our digital tools. We're also making plans to push bequests again in January with a New Year's resolution mini digital campaign. So I know not every development department or organization can invest in free will, but everyone can take advantage of the lift campaigns like Make a Will Month and NEPA offer us. There are free tools out there, so you don't necessarily have to have a paid partner like we do. The Leave 10 website, as Rick had said early at the top of our program, has some great resources, including some templates from Free Will, like a copy-paste email that y'all can send to your people. I also want to plug one more free tool before I pass the baton to Sherri, and this one might be a little controversial, but Free Will has an AI tool that's pretty incredible at writing copy. And unlike other AI tools that pull copy and content from public domain, their tool, Willy, uses your own website to generate copy that's meant to feel like your organization's voice and maybe even a little bit elevated. So I'll drop that link in the chat for you all, and I encourage you to check it out. Maybe challenge Willy to write you a NEPA email and see what you think of what he's got to say.
Beth, we also had one question in the chat about how large your development staff is.
It's a tricky question because our department is community engagement, so like volunteer services, but I think dedicated fundraisers, we've got 3 full-time fundraisers, 2 part-time fundraisers who also have job responsibilities elsewhere, and then our database manager. So give or take about 4 or 5. All right, if there's no more questions, Sherri, let's hear from you.
Thank you, Beth and Dean. I'm so inspired to follow up more with Make a Will. So this is something, so I'm just going to share with you what we do at KBTC, which I think is replicable in most organizations and scalable. I think we have put some money into this, but I think there are ways that you don't need to, especially with Leave 10 resources, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But we've been doing a campaign around NEPA for several years, beginning in 2016. And Jonathan Lindsay is on the Zoom here, so he probably has some memories of this, and he was a big part of making this all happen. So we've done lots of learning, testing, and tracking around it. And for us as a public media organization, we view it as an education campaign for our donors. And I can't remember what my slide order is. So maybe Melissa, if you could kind of, okay, perfect. So I don't think what we do is especially innovative, but it's manageable and it's an action item that we can take to move planned giving along at our shop. So here's what we do. We send a communication to our donors about NEPA and invite them to ask for a free planner. And we've tested multiple ways to send this communication, and I'll share our findings shortly. But I think the key for us is that the planner request form has a short questionnaire, which helps us identify whether they've already included us in their will or their plans, or whether they're considering it. So our goal was to put our organization in front of donors, as they were thinking during National Estate Planning Awareness Week about their own estate plans. And so then really from there, we just send the planner out to everyone and initiate stewardship and follow up on requests. And Dean with the Pierce County Library Foundation hosted a stewardship webinar last year, and I think it's on the Leave 10 website, and it's got some good tips, so I just wanted to call that out. It's a good place to go for some extra information. So I would want to just share our results. Yeah, so we learned a lot after our first campaign in 2016. We sent a physical mailer to a targeted list. We put an email ad in our monthly newsletter. We sent a special email during NEPA to our entire list, like Beth. Why not? It's free. We don't know who's thinking about it at any given time, so we thought, why not reach everybody? And of course, we have our on-air. We had an on-air spot because we're TV, and our website. So we were all in. And the results overwhelmed us, like literally overwhelmed us. We had 391 requests for the estate planning guide. So can you imagine sending out 391 estate planning? So it was a good time. It took us like 6 weeks. So we learned a lot from that. But we had 38 requests for information about including KBTC in their estate plan. So that's a lot more manageable for us. It was still a lot. And we had 4 notifications that KBTC was already included. So we were able to identify people who had already included public media in their estate plan, which that was great. And that is the beginning of a conversation for us. And I think Dean kind of walked you through how that could look. So we have obviously scaled back since then so we can manage the campaign. And we're also, we're public television. Our donors are typically like education focused. And so this just kind of like totally aligned with the public television donor. Like they want to know more and they want to get ready. So, so if you want to test this with your own, and our donor list is over 50,000. So if you want to test this with your own donor list, I would suggest maybe starting I think starting big would be okay. Depends on, maybe it depends on your donor profile. So anyway, yeah, like I said, we scaled back. And what we do now is, oh, right. Okay. So what we learned. Okay. So a lot of people think, oh, you have a TV station, you can communicate it out to everybody, but the number of people that respond to a call to action on a television spot is really very, very, very low. And the number one way that people responded to our communications was via a standalone email communication like Beth did. And also the number 2 way was, we had a little ad embedded in communication we were already sending out that month that just called out National Estate Planning Awareness. We also learned that people want to get started and they don't know where to start. We had a lot of people just asking us for like, can you recommend an estate attorney? I don't have I don't have anyone to turn to. What do I do next? So, so people have lots of questions and you can be kind of their trusted resource. But you also need to have capacity to manage the responses. So, you could start, so I said start maybe big, but now, now I'm saying start small to maybe find what works for you, what risk you're willing to take on. I'm an all-in kind of person, so I always start there, but maybe start small if you want to just stick your foot in the water. And you need to respond quickly or people forget. So when we were calling people like, 6 weeks later, as we were sending out their booklet in 2016, they had forgotten kind of about asking about the booklet. So respond quickly because that's when they're thinking about it. They want to hear from you then. And then Leave 10 Cell Sound resources provide most of the support you need when talking with donors. So they want to know an estate planning attorney. If you don't have somebody on your board or a couple people, there's a whole list of professional advisor champions on the Leave 10 South Sound website, and you can start referring them there. If they ask you a question, you can go to that resource page for nonprofit and kind of scroll through and see if you can find the answer to your question. And also there are mentors listed on that page. So if you really need help, feel free to reach out to one of the mentors. I reached out to Evelyn a couple times and she was super helpful. Okay, I can't remember where I am, Melissa. I think I'm on to the next slide. Okay, so this is just kind of the nuts and bolts of what we do. So this is the email that we send out. I know you can't read it, but I just wanted to give you an idea of how simple it can be. We don't have like super fancy graphics. And then this request a free planning booklet today button just takes them to the survey where it's, yes, please send me a guide. That's all I want from you. That's, that's fine. Or they can ask us to send information on how to support us through a planned gift, or they can let us know here that they've already done it. And then next page or next slide. And then as part of our email, we also promote or always co-brand with Leave 10, because promoting Leave 10 promotes philanthropy. The more people hear about Leave 10 in the community, the more they start to get that in their mind, no matter what charity they're talking to. So I think I've used some of the wording that I found on Habitat's website too. I was like, how do I talk about this partnership? So I think that Habitat calls it being a proud member, and I loved how that resonated. So I borrowed / copied that, but then added our own twist to it, and then invited people to register for the webinar. And I think I have a picture. So this is kind of what our personal estate planning guide looks like. So if you're thinking, well, we don't have a personal estate planning guide, I can't send that free to anybody. There is a estate planning guide on the Leave 10 South Sound website that's free. You can download it. And there might be 1 or 2 pages you want to take out of it and then add your own letter to it. And boom, you've got a personal estate planning guide. So it doesn't have to be fancy. It's just a way to start thinking about what you can do to get planned giving in front of your donors. And next slide. So here is the results from last year. So we scaled down our emails. So what we started with was just an ad that was in a communication that we already sent out at the end of September, talking about estate planning week. And then once we saw that those responses were manageable, then we sent an specific email blast out to like a targeted set of donors. And so from that, we had 130 requests. So we thought, okay, that's manageable. So we had kind of a tiered approach. And from that, we had 4 donors identify that they had included KBTC in their estate plans. And then 3 of our donors attended the Leave 10 South Sound estate planning webinar. So we're super excited about that. So, to implement this at your shop, you just kind of determine your capacity. If you don't have a graphics person, we don't have a graphics person, we don't have a marketing person, we don't have a lot of things, probably like some of your organizations. Add some text to a photo of your work and use that for your emails, just like go into Canva and put National Estate Planning Awareness Week on top of a graphic of work from your organization and use that for all your communications. You can create a reply form with like Google Forms, or I think there's a Forms thing in Outlook that you can use to embed in your email that you send out. And you can create your own estate planning guide, or like I said, use the free one on the Leave 10 South Sound website. And then just draft an email that talks about national estate planning. Maybe try that Willy tool, that AI tool from Free Will that Beth mentioned. That would be fun. Or draft it yourself. And then just prepare a follow-up letter and a plan for when you hear from people. And lean on Leave 10 resources for help. And if I haven't said it enough, leave10.org is, Dean asked me to follow, I end the presentation section on Leave 10. So I use Leave 10 South Sound resources at least once a month. Just go in there, get familiar with the website. There's so much there. They can really help you get over maybe some trepidation you might be having about getting started with something. Like maybe you feel like you're not an expert at plan giving. You don't have to be, because all the resources are right here. And there are people you can reach out to if you have any questions.
Wow,
Thank you.
Sherri, that was awesome. Thank you, Sherri, and thank you, Beth. It's such very specific and tangible results that you show. Thank you very much for that. I want to open it up for questions in just a second. I guess I just want to reiterate, we sometimes think about a program like a plan giving program or this national initiative, and we might get all worked up that it takes big budget. I think you can understand from the stories today, and it just doesn't take much budget at all, but it does take time and it does take intentionality. And, something that I'm glad, Sherri, that you said so many times about the tools on the Leave 10 South Sound website. It is a deep dive, and you can find just about anything you need on that website. So as nonprofit professionals, as we move forward into this next few weeks, we've got great opportunity to do what we're trying to achieve, and that is a rising tide lifts all boats. We want to make this county, this region, a much better place for everyone, and we can do that through an initiative like NEPA, not just for our own organizations, but just kind of to spread the word. There's a question in the chat that came up earlier that said, how do you recommend connecting with families or potential donors about this? Hopefully that question has been answered through specifically the stories of Beth and Sherri and maybe even myself. But another opportunity I just invite each of you to do is, if you took off your organizational hat and were just being a motivated citizen, there are opportunities all over the place to get up and share this information. I forgot to mention that last year during the National Estate Planning Awareness Week, I gave a presentation on making a will, the importance of doing such, and thinking about leaving charitable purposes in your estate plan. I did that at a Sumner Rotary meeting. So the opportunities are before us. It's just a matter of, are we intentional with taking those next steps? So anyways, I've spoken quite enough right now. Maybe we should take some questions or comments from our attendees. Any questions? Not one question. Yeah, thank you, Melissa. Feel free to poke around on the website for Leave 10, because again, like I said, there's just a ton of information there. And again, it is October 16th through the 22nd, so just a few weeks away. And I hope each of you are inspired in your shops to, if you haven't yet already, it's not too difficult to promote. So look for those opportunities to promote it with your donors, with the community members. And really, I don't want to belabor the fact, but there are some, again, great tools out there and great professionals to reach out to if you need any assistance. So with that, Rick, I don't see any.
Oh, it looks like Jonathan has a hand raised here.
Oh, does he? Okay, Jonathan.
I just wondered if people, at the top, some folks mentioned naming their legacy societies. And I wonder, there's probably some of this in the Leave 10, so maybe I should dig into that before I ask this, but I know this is something I've thought about in different roles of naming of the legacy societies. Many of the panelists find that naming those plan giving circles has an impact on outreach. Is that helpful to name it, or does it just kind of complicate the branding?
Great question, Jonathan. I'll leave it to our other panelists. I think I mentioned ours is called the Memoir Society, and I
Right,
mentioned
which
why
is
we call
great.
it that. But how about you, Beth or Sherri?
We just call ours the Legacy Society because we're basic that way, I guess. But really, I think it makes it easy. We did talk about, the year we were incorporated and like sort of looking at our organization's history to see if we could come up with a clever name. But in the end, we sort of felt like everyone sort of understands what a Legacy Society is. And so we just went with that.
Thanks, Beth. How about you, Sherri? Is there a specific name or is it Legacy Society?
I was thinking, wow, Jonathan, that's a great question.
Well, I remember we
I loved the
played around.
Memoir Society.
Yeah, I know. We played around with some stuff, I remember, with some branding, and I think in the end, it did get a little complicated.
Yeah. I like Beth's answer. I think that resonated. Yeah.
Amy, it looks like you have your hand up.
Well, I guess first I want to just thank the panelists. My name's Amy Koo. I'm the new executive director of Tacoma Community House and the Reach Center. And I'm really excited about this conversation and the work of Leave 10. I'm completely new to this group. And so quite frankly, I feel behind and a little bit overwhelmed, and I'm just not sure exactly where to start. So if there is anyone who from Leave 10, or I don't know if it's with you, Beth, maybe or Sherri, that I can pick your brains. I mean, I'm interested and intrigued, and I want to see how we can support and collaborate. But I'm just thinking about 2 weeks out in terms of this this campaign that's going to be launching. And so I don't know if there's someone specific that I should talk with on this call, but would love to continue the conversation.
Well, I think any one of us, in fact, I will personally reach out to you, Amy, and then I would personally connect you with anybody on the screen because I think there are some easy first steps that can be done in support of your organization.
Fantastic. Okay, I will look for that email and email you if I don't see one.
I'll do that. Yeah,
Thanks, Dean.
you bet.
Great to meet everyone.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments? Okay, so we're all going to go out. We're all going to promote NEPA, and we're all going to maybe send some emails and tune into the live stream webinar, which is when, Rick?
Yeah, whoops, hang on a second.
Whoops.
Yeah, I guess I am on mic. Thank you, Dean and Beth and Sherri. Wonderful presentation, wonderful ideas. But let's wrap up the program and I'll cover what you just asked me in that. Quick review of the opportunities that are available and the benefits for you. Many nonprofits has told us they don't have time or the network of professional advisors yet to put on an estate planning program. We think this is a great first step for you that we are providing absolutely free of charge. Remember, the program is 90 minutes in length, 11:30 to 1 o'clock, Thursday, October the 19th. 50 minutes of basic estate planning information created especially for nonprofits, their board of directors, professional advisors, and donors. It is presented by the Outreach Committee of the Leave 10 South Sound Initiative. It is free to everyone and live on Zoom again and streaming on YouTube. Final 30 minutes includes a panel of local professional advisors to help field questions from the audience. And if there are lulls in the questions, well, they'll be there to fill with information on the importance of good estate planning and how it affects their individual disciplines. This is in real time. It contains Washington-specific content in support of National Estate Planning Awareness Week. Now, here are 5 specific things you can do to participate. First of all, register yourself first. And the information we send out after this, with the handouts and all, there'll be ample ways for you to do that. Decide who to invite, staff, board members, your CEO, peers, donors. Decide how you want to participate. You could do it just by having everyone that you invite sign up for the Zoom session, or you could do something special. You could host a meeting and project the YouTube stream at your organization or an off-site location. Use the Leave 10 South Sound website and handout ideas for best ways to invite those you think would benefit. And believe me, there's in this handout that we have that just highlights all of the NEPA specific stuff on our website. There are all of those things, the emails and everything are already there. So just take a look at that one page and you should have 5 or 6 different sources. And finally, remember to send email invitations, use social media, and for special donors, and maybe for those, who are prospects, or just consider sending a personal letter and inviting them. Do something special. All right. Participating in NEPA you can get you on the road to even greater success. And it's easy to participate. It's good for you, your organization, your board, and your donors, who are especially donors who are over 45 and need to think about making their own plans for the future. You're encouraged to create your own materials, email invites, communicate the importance of having an updated will, and don't forget to co-brand with Leave 10. It helps you, but it helps everybody at the same time. Invite everyone to join and Zoom on the Zoom meeting on October 19th and the opportunity to learn about basic estate planning. Donors especially need to be proactive because remember, generally speaking, no will, no gifts to your organization. So this is important for you. So thank you again to our guests today, Dean Carrell from the Pierce County Library System, Sherri Stanton from KBTC Public Television, and Beth Brooks from Tacoma Pierce County Habitat for Humanity. We hope that you have participated and that you will participate in NEPA in one fashion or another and take advantage of the estate planning content created specifically for you. All right, and thank you for your interest in Leave 10 South Sound's initiative and participating in NEPA. We're going to stick around for a little while. We still have a few minutes, I think, left. Let's see, we got about 7 minutes left. So those of you who still have questions and we want to do it a little more or less formal, stick around and we'll be able to handle that. But thanks again for coming, and we look forward to whatever comes your way. And please, when you have success, share it with us. We'd love to know.